Hello and welcome back to the OnlyAccies channel. It's finished here. Livingston 2, Hamilton 1. I mean, what can be said? It's just a really disappointing and poor performance from Accies. Joined, as always, by Brandon, and our guest today is Ali. Ali, I'll come to you first, mate. What did you make of it today?
Where to start? It was, I guess the one word I'd probably use to sum it up was just scrappy. You know, I felt like we let Livy dictate their game on us. We lost all the kind of personality that we've had in previous games. I understand the change up front. However, I think, you know, we were just kind of shelling long balls up to Anderson and Smith, which isn't their game, and kind of asking them to create something out of nothing. So yeah, pretty disappointed overall. I think it was probably one of the worst performances of the season, to be honest.
Brandon, what did you make of it today?
I don't think I can really add much to it. Ali said there, he hit everything that I felt in the nail there. It was extremely scrappy. We allowed, like Ali says, we completely allowed Livy to dictate everything about the game. We're playing long balls up to two small strikers. That's not their game at all. Apart from the one moment of sort of magic for Callum Smith, if you're playing long balls up to him, I'm not particularly his biggest fan, but if you're going to play long balls up to him, you're losing the battle already by doing that. And we know that's the type of play we play. I didn't really understand the sub in the second half. I know tactically, we went for it at the back. Jamie Hamilton did look comfortable when he went right back, to be fair, but I don't think I saw Ronan Hughes touch the ball at all when he came on. But it's just disappointing because I think I said it before the game, our performances have been a lot better recently, but we've not been making them into results. Today, we didn't have a performance or a result, so it was back to square one, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what you guys said. Not much I can add. One player we did miss a huge amount today was Scott McMahon, who before the game we find out is injured. First most of us had heard about it, but okay. And we bring in Kyle Monroe, who, you know, is another one of these young players we're trying to bring through, but he had a really poor game today. Ali, what did you make of Kyle Monroe, and how big of a miss was Scott McMahon?
Scott McMahon, I always think, gets a lot of criticism from our support, and personally I don't really understand it a lot of the time. I think he's fairly consistent. Sometimes his balls at the box aren't fantastic, but you know, he's got pace, he gets forward. You know, I think you're absolutely spot on. We really missed him today. You know, asking Kyle Monroe to come in, not had a lot of minutes. He's up against Nicky Devlin, who, you know, turned him inside out for pretty much both goals. Yeah, it was pretty harsh, but I don't think he got enough support either, to be honest. You know, he got beat for the first and I think, correct if I remember rightly, the second goal, and you know, the other player that was supposed to be helping him out on that side, I think it was Easton, just didn't really do his job either. I mean, you can't take anything away from the first goal. I'm sure you'll come on to that, but it was fantastic. But yeah, I felt for him, but you know, he didn't have a great game, and I think Livy tried to exploit that because everything went down their right hand side, pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, like you said there, I don't think in the first goal you can take anything away from the finish, but it's before that. The balls never should have got to that position. Kyle Monroe should have done a lot better. Brandon, what did you make of Kyle Monroe today?
See this. I always talk about Scott McMahon. I always give him as much praise as possible because I think what he does is very doesn't get respected enough. As Ali says, he's extremely consistent. And we've brought Kyle Monroe in, and both goals, he's been very suspect at them. But like Ali was touching on there, the person supporting him, although he signed a new deal the other day there, he's clearly getting on a bit because McMahon is obviously more comfortable. He's been a regular starter for us, so we can handle it if maybe Easton isn't fully there because McMahon will be there to sort of pick up the scraps. If Monroe's came in, it's his sort of first start. His first start in a while, and Easton's not going to be there to pick up his scraps. So Livy done the right thing by exploiting that. One thing I would say about Monroe that was different to McMahon is that, as I touched on briefly as well, McMahon's delivery can be a bit it can be very inconsistent. I thought Monroe's deliveries for set pieces was actually really good, and that's the one thing that we didn't take advantage of today. Livy were looking very suspect at corners, free kicks that were getting whipped in, and I don't think the players were attacking them well enough, because I think there was a few cases where the balls just completely went across the box and nobody's got a touch in it or whatnot. So one thing I would say about Monroe Azi's delivery was a bit better than McMahon, but no, we massively missed him today. Even going forward, you just saw the lack of confidence in Monroe when he was trying to take on people.
Yeah.
There was a few cases where he was possibly one-on-one with a player and he was hesitant and he would turn back the way rather than having the confidence to do the McMahon step over and go down the wing. But I wasn't the best of game for him, but I don't want to really single Kyle Monroe out, because I don't think you could give it any player past Marks on that pitch.
Yeah, I agree. And it's quite rare for us to come on and say that people like Akima Dolphin, Ross Callahan didn't do anything in the game, Bruce Anderson as well today. But they didn't, and I think that is down to Livy. If I'm being honest, I thought Livy were just better all over the park. First to every single ball, first to every second ball, and they just fought a lot harder than us. Brandon, you said on social media that this is another poor example of Brian Rice's game management. Why do you say that?
I mean, when we're chasing, like, games beforehand, when we've been winning fairly comfortably, and we've made stupid subs just for the sake of making subs, and we've ended up dropping the points because of it. We're in a game there where we're chasing the game. Let's not kid ourselves. We were properly chasing the game. I knew we were going to get beat. We didn't look for a second like we were going to threaten them. I think there was a brief sort of moment where Callahan shot / cross across the box. That was the only sort of chance we had the second half. I feel for Rice in a way, because the squad depth's horrendous. So the options he's got to bring on, look, he's changed it. I think tactically he changed it the right way by putting his four at the back. Jamie Hammond looks solid, but he's brought on Ronan Hughes. Do you know what I mean? What is Ronan Hughes going to do to change the game? Nothing. He's then waited till the 88th minute to bring Moyo on, where we're chasing a game. You saw that we were chasing the game. We're putting big punts up the park more than what we were at the start of the game. So you'd think if we're doing that, bring Moyo on. Although he might not be a world beater, but he might win the balls that are up in the air. Go a bit more attacking. I wouldn't have even says a light for light sub with Callum Smith. Keep Callum Smith on. Go for it a bit. We're at the stage of the season where look, that's 1 win out of 11. Although the sort of performances might have papered over the cracks slightly, that is not good enough. And if we want to stay, we need to start making wins, and the game management just needs to be better. Because in my opinion, today the subs could have been better.
Yeah, that's the big frustration. I think we've all felt that, and you think about the Ross County game, where we made those changes, and I think everyone was just going, what are you playing at? We're gonna concede here, and the St Johnstone game was kind of similar, but as Brandon said as well, the squad depth is poor. The St Johnstone game, I think, who was it that came on? Was it O'Halloran and Glenn Middleton?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, and we've our bench
and bounce compared to us.
Oh, totally.
Even Livy there bringing on Josh Mullen when we're bringing on Ronan Hughes. It's the sort of difference in depth, and we've been unlucky with injuries and stuff like that. But these players have been clear to be out injured for a long period of time. So it was up to Rice to go to the board and say, listen, I need recruitments if you want me to keep this team in the league, because let's be honest, the players that were on that bench today, I think I said it before the game, you go and look at Queen's Park's bench. I would rather Queen's Park's bench than ours today, honestly, and we can laugh about it, but I'm being totally serious when I say it, which is mind-boggling to say when you're a top-tier team, comparing yourself to possibly junior and part-time teams.
Yeah, and there was, just to finish off here, there was one big moment in that second half that at first I tweeted out saying didn't look like there was much in it, but when you see the replay, I think it has a Stonewall penalty. Bruce Anderson rather dramatically throws himself to the ground. I'm thinking if he's maybe not as dramatic, there's more of a chance he gets it. But the player, I think it's Fitzwater, does have a handful of Bruce Anderson's shirt and does drag him down. It's a penalty for me, and it seems to be the case on social media. Ali, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I definitely think it was a penalty. I know the commentator said, they didn't think he was maybe going to get to the ball, but, grabbing a player's shirt like that in the box, it's got to be a penalty. I think you're right. I don't know if he did himself any favours, kind of throwing himself to the deck, but, he's a striker. If he feels contact, he's going to do that. And I think Clancy had a decent view at it, to be honest, which made it even more disappointing. When those kind of decisions go against you, it's really frustrating. But I think overall we just didn't create enough. Neither team did, to be fair. The two chances Livy pretty much had, they took, barring the kind of shot that came off the crossbar, which would have been some goal if it got in. But yeah, I just feel like we didn't create enough. We didn't get the ball into Callahan at all, anywhere near enough. The few times that we did, something did happen. But, we let Livy press us high. We weren't brave enough in the ball. We just shelled it forward to two pretty short strikers. And yeah, the penalty incident was a frustration, but I just think overall it was just a really, really poor performance.
With regards to the penalty, when I first initially saw the penalty, I more saw it from, and I think the referee sees it as well from this sort of view, is the player that's in front of him sort of pushing him.
Mm.
And then that's when I thought he makes a melee, he's getting pushed to. I never initially saw the pulling of the back of the shirt. When you see that in the replay, it's a stonewall penalty. In recent weeks, we have been unlucky with sort of decisions perhaps not going our way. But I think today, regardless of that decision, we're going to get beat. We weren't at the races at all. It was our poorest performance in a long period of time. And I just hope Rice doesn't come out and say that in his when he speaks with the media and he blames the penalty decision, because I hope he comes out and says that we just simply weren't good enough, and he's brutally honest, because I think that's what the fans need to hear, that he understands we weren't good enough. And I think the players also need to hear, coming from their coach, that we simply weren't good enough, because we were rotten, every player.